Solving absolute value equation. What does absolute value mean and why is it important? There is a technical definition for absolute value, but you could easily never need it. For now, you should view the absolute value of a number as its distance from zero. This is why absolute value is never negative. Absolute value only asks how far, not in which direction. This means not only that absolute of 3 is equals 3, because 3 is the 3 units to the right of 0, but also that absolute value of negative 3 is 3, because negative 3 is 3 units to the left of 0. Absolute value has a symbol. Actually, two, just like other operations. The symbols for absolute value are two vertical lines. They are meant to surround the value that you want to take the absolute value of. Sort of like parentheses surround the symbols that they grouped. Here are some examples. We have absolute value of negative 5, absolute value of negative 6, absolute value of positive 10, absolute value of x, absolute value of y, and absolute value of 0. So what are the answers? So for absolute value of negative 5, we have positive 5. And for absolute value of negative 6, we have positive 6. And absolute value of 10, we have 10. It is not negative because taking the absolute value is not the same as taking the opposite. And for absolute value of x is equals x. But remember, we still don't know what x is. And absolute value of y is equals to y. Might be negative, positive, or 0. And absolute value of 0 is 0. It's as simple as this. If an input is positive, it stays positive. If an input is negative, it becomes positive. And if an input is 0, it stays 0. Okay, we now know what absolute value does. But if that's a new concept to you, then practice it well. To reach the level of standard, we have to move on. First, let's look at a simple equation and solve it. We have x plus 10 equals 293. To solve this equation, we will use additive inverse by subtracting 10 to both sides. So we have minus 10, minus 10. So we have x plus 10 minus 10 and equals 293 minus 10. So cancel this one. We have x equals 293 minus 10. We have 283. So let's add absolute value into the same equation. So we have absolute value of x plus 10 equals 293. We saw that the answer is 283. Let's think. What if x plus 10 equals negative 293? So, we have x equals negative 293 minus 10, or x equals negative 303. So then we would have this negative 293, we have absolute value of negative 293 equals 293. And it is a true statement. Because if we substitute this value into the x, we have x plus 10 equals negative 293. Have negative 303 plus 10 equals negative 293. Negative 303 plus 10, we have negative 293 equals negative 293. Check. So, if x equaled negative 303, then the equation would be true. So, there are two solutions to this equation. By this equation, we have the two solutions. So, we have absolute value of x plus 10 equals 293. X plus 10 equals 293, which is our x. Our first value of x is 283. So, let's substitute. We have 283 plus 10 is equals 293. 283 plus 10, we have 293, which is equals to 293. So, it's true. And the second solution, we have our x equals negative 303. So, we have x plus 10 equals 293. Substitute the value of negative 293. Substitute the value of x. We have negative 303 plus 10 equals negative 293. And negative 303 or 303 plus 10, we have negative 293, which is equals 293. So, the two solutions are true. It may seem strange to change the right side of the equation to find out what the value is on the left side, but trust me, it works. Notice that absolute value signs are now gone. These two are easy to solve. So, let's check. So, we have absolute value of x plus 10 equals 293. The value of x is equals 283. So, we have the value of 283 plus 10 equals 293. 283 plus 10, we have absolute value of 293. And the absolute value of 293 is 293. So, they are equal. So, this is true. And the second value of x, we have value of x plus 10 equals 293, which is our x is equals negative 303. So, let's substitute. So, we have negative 303 plus 10 equals 293. And absolute value of 303 plus 10, we have absolute value of negative 293 equals 293. So, the absolute value of negative 293 is positive 293. So, these are correct.